John Stevens, former frontman of Noiseworks, Aussie music icon. He really doesn't need an introduction. How are you going, John?
I'm good. Thank you very much. But I'm still the lead singer of Noiseworks. We're still actually functioning. We're actually doing a new album, which will either drop this year, end of this year, or early next year. Been a very busy year for me, doing different projects. The Daisies, a new band which has been taking up a lot of my focus. We finished an album. We've got a single out on iTunes called Lock and Load, which I wrote with Slash.
That's fantastic. I also know that recently you managed to share a stage with the great Billy Joel. How was that?
Yeah, it was awesome. I mean, I'd met Billy a few times over the years, and know various members of his band and crew and stuff, and just people you meet along the way on over the years on your travels, and when they come to town, they call you up and go, "What are you doing? You in town?" And fortunately, I was, and went down there and had a few drinks, and Billy goes, "Well, you want to get up and sing?" I'm like, "Sure. What are we doing?" He goes, "Oh, we'll do Highway to Hell." So we did Highway to Hell together. It was fun.
That must have been absolutely amazing. Tell us what you've got in store for us tonight at Blues on Broadbeach.
Was going to play, obviously the songs that people know me for, Noiseworks songs, and play some new songs. Can play some Dead Daisies songs, even just stuff that sort of entertains me at the moment, actually. But it's going to be rocking and yeah.
That was actually going to be one of my questions for you, was sort of as you become more established in the music industry, does it become more self-indulgent, or is it still, hugely about an audience and pleasing everyone else?
No, it's about pleasing yourself first, but without being self-indulgent. Sure. I'm not really that self-indulgent, but the fact is that I've got such a big catalogue that, when you've been playing the same songs, or, half a dozen of the same songs for 25 years, and you've written, a whole bunch of new stuff, you actually just want to play some new stuff and gauge an audience reaction, because that's how you find out, if the song is going to work in that environment, and that's the tried and tested way of doing that, giving songs some life on live.
Sure. Now, recently you were voted in the number 50 spot in a survey by industry peers as in the top 100 greatest Aussie singers of all time. How does that sit with you?
I don't really care. It's irrelevant. I mean, who makes up these polls? I don't know. I mean, the fact is, I'm still a working musician, songwriter, producer, person that travels around doing what I love, and there's no number that you can attach to that. Obviously it's nice to be recognised by somebody, I suppose, whoever did that, but I don't really put any stock in that kind of thing.
I think anyone who knocks Michael Jackson's "Don't Stop Till You Get Enough" off number one in New Zealand charts has got to rank a little bit higher than that, in my opinion. But look, I find it really hard to believe that you've joined the 50 Club. You look remarkable. How's your health these days?
Health's great. Yeah, it's three and a half years since I had double heart bypass surgery, and I'm fine and fit. I'm reconditioned, and have a new appreciation for life. It's a really different thing when you come that close to death, and it really makes you look at things a lot differently, and just appreciate everything and everyone in your life a lot more. And so for me, the joy is doing what I love, which is music, obviously, family, friends, and and just keep breathing and keep smiling.
Speaking of family, I read that you were the youngest in a family of 11 kids.
Correct.
Do you think that really helped you sort of in your music career to perhaps stand up and have a voice and be heard, and perhaps built a bit of tenacity?
Definitely. I mean, I just grew up in a household where we were always playing music, singing, guitars, and a lot of drinking too, even when I was young. But it's pretty normal in New Zealand, growing up in a Māori family. It's a very musical culture anyway, and it's just part of life. It's just a normal part of life for me.
What advice would you give your younger self or musicians trying to break into the industry?
Get a job. Get a real job. No, look, believe in yourself, really. You're always going to be, always the apprentice in music. You can never master it, no matter how accomplished you become or how famous you become. You all have self-doubts. It's rising above those self-doubts and challenging yourself constantly, And, you know, every song is different. Every song you write is different. It has different meaning, has different connotations. It has different, you know, emotional sort of input and output. And I don't know, just be true to yourself and believe in yourself and do what you love. I mean, it's a, you know, today's music world everything's so computerized and prefab and, you know, formularized that, you know, very rarely do I find much soul in modern music. So, you know, that's kind of gone out a bit of it, but you know, cream rises to the top.
Throughout your career also, you've dabbled in the entertainment industry quite a bit. You've done TV presenting. You've also forayed into musical theatre. Back in '92, you played Judas in Jesus Christ Superstar, and you're about to do it again as Pontius Pilate. Is it different this time around?
Yeah, it's a completely different role. So, in fact, I've just been rehearsing this week with the director, and it's a real challenge playing Pontius Pilate because, I mean, unlike Judas, I mean, you know, Judas was the mate, and it's such a great sing, you know, the Judas role, and it's a singy role, and it's, you know, it's a rock singer's role, so it's perfect for me. And, you know, they're bringing out the whole UK cast this week, and we start on Monday in Perth. But you know, Pilate is just completely different. It's more acting than singing. In fact, somebody said to me, he said, "Man, when I look at it, the whole cast, you're the only legitimate rock singer in a rock opera, and you're not actually singing." I went, "Yeah, it's kind of weird." But, you know, they wanted me to be in it because they wanted to link to the '92 show, and, you know, and I'm really excited about it and really looking forward to the challenge.
You're working with some really cool talent as well that all brings something completely different to the table. Andrew O'Keefe with an Australian TV personality, Mel C, former Spice Girl, Tim Minchin as well, comedian. It must really make for an enriching kind of experience too.
Well, I've met Andrew a few times. He's a nice bloke. I met Mel C. She's lovely. Haven't met Tim Minchin yet, but I will during the week. But I hear good things, and you know, we're all just artists, and we're all just in an ensemble piece like that. You know, you really actually have to be working together. You can't, you know, it's a set piece, and you have to know your lines. You have to show up and be in the right spot at the right time, but more than that, you know, convincingly perform an interaction. You know, and me being a musician, I'm not quite used to that. So this week's been a real steep learning curve for me. Like, you know, the acting thing.
That's what keeps you young, though, learning new things, don't you think?
Yeah, I suppose so, you know. But it's still pressure, it's still stress. But I don't know, what keeps you young is just being happy, and, you know, my kids keep me young, I suppose. One
question that I really love asking musicians is, what are one or two tracks that we might hear on the soundtrack to John Stevens' life?
First one that comes to mind is "What a Wonderful World" by Louis Armstrong. I, you know, heard that as a little kid growing up. You know, my mum and dad used to play it all the time. So, you know, and every time I hear that song and that recording, it takes me straight back to when I was a little kid. And, you know, it's just this amazing song, and the sound of it is amazing. So that song's the first one that springs to mind. I suppose another one would be Maggie May, Rod Stewart, in the 70s, and I don't know, I was probably 11 when it came out, 10 maybe, and it's just a little rat bag, and that seemed to be playing at the pool hall all the time. So every time I hear that song, I remember Bert's, you know, pool hall.
Good. All right, well, I'm really looking forward to seeing what you get up to tonight. Jesus Christ Superstar starts on the 31st of May, runs right through to the 15th of June, starting in Perth, moving to Adelaide, Sydney, Brisbane and Melbourne. And also check out thedeaddaisies.com for band info and, of course, that new single. Thanks so much for your time, John. Much appreciated.
Thank you very much. Cheers. Thank you.